Hi everyone and welcome to Sonya's Prep. The Jewish holiday of Sukkot is coming up and I wanted to share delicious recipes with you that are sure to please a crowd. Sukkot is a week-long holiday that celebrates the miraculous protection that God provided us when we left Egypt and we were in the desert for 40 years. So for 1 week, we leave the comforts of our home and we eat in a makeshift tent and some even sleep in a sukkah. Of course, this holiday includes many meals with family and friends, so let's roll up our sleeves and let's get prepping. First on the menu is mujadera rice and lentils with crispy fried onions, and it's very simple to make. To start, you measure out half a cup of brown lentils and let them soak for 30 minutes. In the meantime, measure out 1.5 cups of basmati rice, rinse and drain them. Add salt to a pot of boiling water of about 4 cups and let them boil for 7 minutes. Rinse and drain the rice after it's done cooking and set it aside. Do the exact same thing with the soaked lentils. Place them in a pot of boiling water and let them cook for 7 minutes. Combine the rice and lentils once they're both done cooking. And now separately, we're going to slice up an onion into half moon shapes and we're going to get that all nice and crispy. This is my personal favorite part of this dish. It just adds a punch of flavor. To the sliced onions, I added in about 1 teaspoon of turmeric and 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I mix it all together thoroughly to incorporate it. And then once that's done, I drop in 1 onion just to test the oil to make sure it's ready, and then drop all of the onions and mix it around and get them all deliciously crispy, just like this. Remove them from the pot of oil and drain them on a paper towel. Now, to combine this dish, you're going to use a serving plate or a bowl. Add in your rice and lentils and put in half of your fried onions into the rice and lentil mix. Mix it thoroughly, and then at the very top, you're going to garnish it with the rest of the crispy onions that you have fried up. It's absolutely delicious. This next recipe, the brown sugar liver and onions, is actually something that my husband Shai taught me. So you take 1 onion, you fry it up with some oil until it gets nice and brown. I use pre-koshered liver. There's specific ways that we need to kosher our liver. This is chicken livers here. So I buy the prepared kind already. I dice them up into large cubes and add them to the onions. And this is the best part. You add in about 3 to 4 tablespoons of light or dark brown sugar and mix that all thoroughly, and it just gets ooey gooey, sticky and delicious. Next, I'll be making a raspberry oat bars. This is a recipe that I got from Peas, Love, and Carrots, and it's perfect for those cold winter nights that you just want to cuddle up with a hot cup of tea. The night before I want to make this recipe, I dump in all of the dry ingredients and I cover it, and the next day I add in the oil, eggs, and I mix it. The full recipe will be in the description box below. Of course, my daughter Aviva saw me in the kitchen and she wanted to take over. So once you make your dry crumble mixture, you'll reserve 2.5 cups of it on the side to use as the crumb topping. So just put that into a measuring cup and set that aside. The rest of the dough mixture that you've prepared, put it onto a lined cookie sheet and dump all of that in, and just use your hands and just mush it all together. If it looks dry to you, then feel free to add either another egg or some oil. But once I mushed everything down, it all just, came together very nicely. I prefer using raspberry jam in this recipe, but any favorite of yours will do. Finish it off by placing the rest of the crumb mixture over the top. Over there, you'll see on the left side a little sticker bee. My daughter wanted the bee to have a good view of her accomplishments, so she stuck that on there. I thought it was very, very cute. I placed these to bake in a preheated 350-degree oven for 40 minutes. You'll know it's ready when the jam is bubbling on the sides and it just looks amazing. I shared this honey chicken recipe in my latest Shabbat prep video, and we have been making it on repeat. It's another dump and go and very quick to put together. The marinade recipe is in the description box. It basically has tons of garlic, herbs, and honey, a perfect balance of sweet and savory. I cook it covered for an hour at 350 degrees, and then I uncover it and baste it and place it back in the oven for an additional 30 minutes. It comes out finger-licking good. I love making this very basic crispy roasted cauliflower. I cut it into small pieces, place them on a baking tray with cornstarch and oil, and I roast them until they're crispy. I don't like to have mushy cauliflower, and the cornstarch ensures that it will come out nice and crispy. Don't forget to season it with salt and pepper to taste. I bake it on broil or on air fry if you have that feature in your oven, and this is exactly how I like it. Moving on to our garlicky Asian string beans. My eldest daughter is using a kitchen scissor over there and cutting off the ends. In the meantime, while she's doing that, I'm placing in about 2 tablespoons of oil into a skillet with 6 minced garlic cloves and sauteing them until that garlicky aroma fills the air. Be careful not to burn them. Add in the string beans next and give that all a mix with some salt and black pepper. I then add in about 3 to 4 tablespoons of soy sauce and let that saute until the string beans get a little crispy. They come out so delicious and full of flavor. You can top them with sesame seeds as well. Next up is a gorgeous salmon recipe that I got from Rory's cookbook. It looked so beautiful that I needed to try it. I cut and slice an acorn squash and I place it on a baking tray. Season the acorn squash with salt and pepper and a little bit of oil. Massage the seasoning and oil into the acorn squash and line them in a single line in the baking tray lined with parchment paper. To finish them off, I add in some date syrup over the top, which just gives them this deep brown color. Place them in a preheated 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes. Take them out, flip them to the other side, and place them back into the oven for another 10 minutes until they're fully cooked through. While the squash is cooking, I'll make the fish marinade. I have all of the measurements in the description box. I used pomegranate sauce, soy sauce, garlic, salt, and pepper, and I lathered all of that onto the salmon. Feel free to adjust the measurements to your palate and liking. Decorate the salmon using thinly sliced lemon slices. Be as artistic as you would like. We all eat with our eyes, so I always like to dress up my food just a little bit. Bake it in the oven at 425 degrees for 10 minutes. Baste it with the leftover marinade and place it back into the oven to cook for an additional 5 minutes and repeat. Add the cooked acorn squash to the baking tray and bake it for an additional 5 minutes. Separately, I made basmati rice to go along with the fish. It's basically 2 cups of rice to 3 cups of water with 2 tablespoons of oil and salt. Oh, how gorgeous does this look? The sides look burnt, but they aren't. I promise you, it's all from the molasses from the date syrup. It comes out super delicious. I sprinkle the top of it with some dill and scallions for the gorgeous contrast in colors. Rack of ribs are a favorite when we host. I simply added in Montreal steak seasoning and brown sugar. It cooks in a 350-degree oven for about 3 hours. I had some figs and apricots that I cooked with it, and they just got all delicious and caramelized in the oven. Brisket is another really versatile meat that I like to cook up on the first nights of Chag because I can repurpose it into either brisket tacos or meat pizza on other nights of the holidays. The brisket is made the same way as the rack of ribs, but at times I like to add in barbecue sauce as well. They make for delicious appetizers that come together very quickly because the protein is already cooked in advance. Next up are these delicious pastries inspired by Sivan's Kitchen on Instagram. Into a bowl, I added in 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups of almond flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a cup of powdered sugar, half a cup of orange juice, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 sticks of butter or margarine or betterine, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix thoroughly to combine and place the dough on a floured surface and cut into 3 equal parts. Roll out each dough into a rectangle and add in your favorite filling. For the first roll, I'm using lotus cookie spread, which is one of our all-time favorites. I then roll it into a log and place it on a parchment-lined cookie sheet. Repeat the same thing with the next 2 doughs. I'm using a pumpkin maple spread in this one, which is perfect for fall. In my last roll, I'm using a praline paste, which is deliciously chocolatey. So basically you can add in any filling that you like. You could add in nuts and chocolates and jams and anything that your heart desires, and it'll come out delicious. This dough is just perfect. Using a serrated cutter, I cut each roll. I have this one linked in my Amazon storefront, which is linked in the description box. I cut each roll into a different shape just to distinguish between them all. Bake these in a preheated 350-degree oven for 40 minutes, and once they're completely cooled off, sprinkle on some powdered sugar and enjoy. These are great to actually freeze as well if you want to make a big batch and freeze them. I've done it and they come out perfectly. I already made a whole bunch of challah earlier in the week, which I already froze, which are ready for me to just whip them out of the freezer when I need them. But I really enjoy crispy, fresh sourdough bread. I already have a few videos and tutorials up on how to make the sourdough starter and how to make the dough. So if you'd like to check those out, I'll have links to them in the description box below. And I love to score them in cute different ways. Here I'm making this design, which came out so pretty. This channel is all about my Orthodox Jewish life, and I share here Shabbat meal preps and holiday inspirations and general tips and tricks as a busy working mom on how to manage the many things that we have on our plates. And if you enjoy this type of content, I would love it if you would consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell to be made aware of my future uploads. I would love to have you be a part of the prep family here on YouTube. For all who celebrate, I hope you enjoy the Sukkot surrounded with family and friends. May it be beautiful, spiritual, and uplifting. Thank you all for watching. Happy Sukkot and happy prepping from my family to yours.